Always be comfortable negotiating in a conflict. You know, you need to prepare. When you're going to negotiate, you need to prepare. And you need to ask lots of questions before you create the conflict, so that you know who you're going to be fighting with. Because once you've created the conflict, there is no more asking questions. Right? So you want to figure out what your worst case scenario is. You want to figure out your best case scenario so that you know where to draw the line in the sand, where you're going to say no, when you're going to walk away. Remember, time heals all wounds. So if he walks away or you walk away, let a few days go by and then you can always come back to the negotiation. Right? Think about all these union negotiations that you hear where they broke off and they left the room and then 3 days later they're back at the bargaining table. They're just strategies. Right? It's not personal. It's not personal. So who cares if he yells and he screams? Who cares if he swears at you? Who cares? As long as you get what you want. Assume they're acting, because most of the time they are. Get help from external advisors. So when you're done negotiating for the day, take notes, talk to other people about what you're negotiating. Do you really want to haggle over a couple $1,000s or a couple of pennies, is what I call them? Right? So what are you're going to take the cut, you're going to give him the couple of pennies, but what is he going to give you in return? Always give and take. There always has to be a give and take. Always. Prepare yourself in advance. Expect them to be happy. Sorry, expect them to be unhappy and angry. Practice and role play. When you enter the conflict zone and the other person's pounding on the table, screaming and yelling, you have to maintain your composure. If he sees you flinch, if he sees you sweat, it's all over.
What is RIC, conflict zone?
Risk. It's risk, not Rick. And like I said, if you're not in there for 15 minutes, you're not negotiating.
But some people seriously do have anger issues. So how do you know what you're dealing with?
Doesn't matter. I still assume that I don't care if they have anger. I don't care if they have anger issues. I think they're acting.
Okay.
And it's really hard because a lot of people say that I'm emotionally disconnected, right? And you're not going to get a reaction out of me no matter what you do. So when it comes to negotiating with me face to face, I'm probably the worst person you want to negotiate with, because you can scream, yell, you can run around naked. So you're not going to get a reaction out of me.
Do you think the NLP helped you or not?
I think NLP helps a lot. Strategies, like I've been, I took some of this stuff out of a course I took in 2003. So it's not like I've been doing this for a little while.
So I'm still struggling a little bit with, okay, where do you draw the line? Because there's got to be a point where you don't feel good about it. Okay, I can get into that kind of thing and I can stare somebody down. So do they go home and look at themselves in the mirror and feel proud of their behavior? Because sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the boundary?
You know what? If you are negotiating face-to-face on a $10 million deal, where are the boundaries? If you're negotiating for $1 million discount, is it reasonable? I always come back to, is it reasonable? Like, if you're trying to squeeze the last $5,000 out of a seller, I think that's unreasonable. Right? Like, I'm not a lone wolf, so I'm not here to win at all costs.
So you're not a lone wolf.
I'm not a lone wolf. I can be a lone wolf.
Is Trump a lone wolf?
Trump, I would say that Trump will negotiate as hard as he has to.
He talks about going in and kill,
Trump is a lone wolf,
right?
right? For him, it's to win at all costs,
Right.
right? So, you know,
Okay. So that.
but winning at all costs
Uh-huh.
doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to lose, right? Because see, the thing about Donald Trump, and the reason why I don't really have a problem with him, is because he's not negotiating with a mom and pop homeowner. He's negotiating with a multi-billion-dollar or a trillion-dollar company, where he wants to take an asset off of their tables for nothing. So who is he really negotiating with, right? I would have an issue if you wanted to be a lone wolf and you were trying to squeeze, nickels and dimes out of somebody that doesn't have any money. They're in foreclosure, they're losing their home, and you want to swoop in there and steal their home, kick them out on the street. I don't think that's right. That's how do you sleep if you do that at night? That's why I give you a hard time all the time. Because it's not about I've said it, it's not about the $10,000, $5,000 that you can squeeze out of somebody today is not going to make a big difference tomorrow.